Origins Explained is back at it with another paleontology video. So, without further ado, let's begin.
The ocean can be a scary place. Here are 9 of the most terrifying sea monsters of all time.
Also, the title of the video just makes it seem like a completely crazy paleontology video. Sea monsters. This channel still treats animals like monsters.
Number 9. Predator X,
aka the Plesiosaurus fungi.
Predator X is the most powerful marine reptile ever discovered.
As if something like a Tylosaurus does not exist in your eyes.
Over 15 meters long and weighing about 4 tons.
That is disproportionately small compared to the quote-unquote 15-meter estimate.
It was twice as big as most Jurassic predators. The giant reptile roamed the seas about 150 million years ago and was officially classified as a new species. Now known as Plesiosaurus fungi, it had a massive 2-meter skull with a bite 4 times as powerful as a Tyrannosaurus rex, although I prefer the name Predator X.
Given how this channel has a track record of those bad paleontology videos, I can't say I'm surprised.
Studies of the brain cavity of Predator X has revealed that its brain was actually similar to the much smaller great white shark. In 2006, scientists found 2 massive pliosaur skeletons in Norway. The pliosaur family had short necks and 4 large paddle-shaped limbs like a turtle that allowed them to move up to 5 meters per second. The newly discovered fungi species likely lived closer to 145 million years ago and ate plesiosaurs, related long-necked, small-headed reptiles.
Okay, so I guess this isn't as bad as we thought it would be, but you know, at first I thought it was going to be another crazy paleontology video because of the title and the start of the video, but I guess this section isn't horrible.
The new analysis shows P. fungi had longer front paddles than other pliosaurs and different teeth. This predator is still bigger than the largest living apex predator, the killer whale, which tops out at about 9 meters long.
Dinosaur size is determined by mass, not length. I've said it like 20 bazillion times already, so yeah.
Number 8. Plesiosaurs. Even though it was smaller than Predator X, its mouth was full of needle-like teeth pointing inward, a perfect death trap for prey and for ripping flesh.
Ironic how this Katrina person showed, this is probably a company making this type of video. But the image shows a plesiosaur getting eaten, basically getting killed as prey, which makes it quite funny because this person over here is talking about plesiosaurs.
In 1987, a plesiosaur fossil was discovered with the bones of an embryo in its abdomen, proving that the animal gave birth to live young. Plesiosaurs would swallow stones weighing about 5 pounds to help them digest their prey. If there was one plesiosaur you needed to watch out for, it was Leviathan.
Okay, so Leviathan, it technically belongs to the Plesiosauria order, and the Plesiosauria order is also called Plesiosaur.
This carnivorous beast could weigh over 3,500 pounds and reach over 30 feet in length, including jaws that are believed to be 10 feet alone, complete, of course, with a very wide jaw and several rows of razor-sharp teeth. Their bodies consisted of a unique paddle design for limbs, which has been tested and proven on small swimming robots. Most likely they hunted similar to the crocodiles of today, with short and fast burst attacks.
So, as you can see, this Origins Explained video is actually not that horrible, especially compared to the most viewed long-form video on my channel.
So that makes them just perfect for any underwater haunted aquarium. Number 7. Giant sea scorpion. Since there's no way I can pronounce this, we'll just call this one the giant sea scorpion.
Yaculopterus renaniae.
Larger than a human and about the size of a crocodile, the 390-million-year-old sea scorpion was the top predator of its day.
Okay, so it lived at around 410.8 to 402.5 million years ago. But it did not live 390 million years ago because it went extinct by then.
This was one of the 2 largest arthropods to have ever lived, reaching a length of over 8 feet of armored clawed horror. Most of us freak out at the thought of a tarantula, so it's easy to imagine screaming like a banshee if you ever swam by one of these. A huge fossilized spiky claw discovered in Germany in 2007 measured 18 inches. We've known about supersized insects for years now, but it wasn't until this discovery that scientists realized just how big some of these creepy crawlies can get.
Except the Yaculopterus already diverged from the insects by the subphylum Chelicerata. It and insects are all arthropods, but they belong in completely different subphylums.
The next biggest fossil arthropods were massive millipedes that grew more than 2 meters long. Number 6. Basilosaurus. The Basilosaurus name and appearance make it seem like an ancient reptile, but it's actually a bloodthirsty ancestor of today's whales.
There really is no explanation needed as to why I'm incredibly iffy with that bloodthirsty description of the Basilosaurus.
It's ironic given that its name means king lizard, but that's because when it was discovered by Richard Owen in 1834, it was thought to be a reptile. It wasn't until over 10 years later that he discovered it was actually a mammal and tried to rename it the Zeuglodon, meaning yolk tooth, but that didn't really catch on.
Sometimes this is how paleontology works. We have some quite misleading names, but we have to live with it.
It's the closest a whale has ever come to being a snake due to its long, eel-like body averaging about 65 feet long, complete with a narrow snout and jaw full of large, spiky teeth.
But the Basilosaurus evolved into a whale, and not really a snake.
It most likely ate other kinds of prehistoric mammals as its main food source. Its skeletal structure was surprisingly weak for its size and power. Its vertebrae was actually hollow, so it stayed near the water's surface where the pressure wasn't as intense, waiting for other whales to come up for air. Luckily, we weren't around back then because I don't know if our ships would be able to handle a cannibalistic 65-foot-long alligator, eel, snake, whale thing.
This sequence over here just clearly emphasizes how Origins Explained treats these animals.
Physical evidence shows that the Basilosaur weren't very smart and they didn't have the cognitive ability of today's whales, nor did they have echolocation. Strangely enough, they only navigated in 2 dimensions, so they didn't do any deep diving or breaching. Weird.
Because it lived before modern whales did. It evolved into whales.
Number 5. Dunalosus. The Dunalosus existed during the Devonian period when vertebrates were just starting to live on land, but Dunalosus was much more evolved. It was around 30 feet long and didn't have teeth, but instead bony plates like turtles today, which combined with an 8,000-pound bite force made for an extremely unfair fight.
Well, there won't really be a fight to begin with because the Dunalosus was an apex predator of its environment.
There were many bony armored fish in the ocean in those days, and the strong bite would crush the chunky exterior, making its prey more edible. Dunkel's head and neck was protected by a hard shield, which also helped to concentrate its immensely powerful biting muscles. The Dunalosus is right up there with the crocodile and T-Rex for history's strongest biters, and I'm sure if it were around today, it would hold that title proud.
Everything has to be compared to the T-Rex, literally everything. Okay, so I rarely come across things that are compared to the T-Rex nowadays, but thanks for breaking that streak, I guess.
Based on evidence from their skull regarding musculature, it is believed that the Dunalosus could open its mouth in 1/50th of a second. During its years on Earth, the Dunalosus plates that made up its teeth changed to allow it to hold its prey more easily as it tried to escape for dear life. Number 4. Megalodon.
I'm guessing the top three would be the Leviathan, Mosasaurus, whatever.
Thanks to Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, the Megalodon is now a very famous ancient sea beast.
I haven't seen anyone call the Megalodon a quote-unquote very famous ancient sea beast, but... well, this is the first time, and I guess it's fine. But at the same time, it's still an animal, and not a monster.
It could reach over 60 feet in length and was about 3 to 5 times the size of today's great white shark. Weighing as much as 100 tons, it had the most powerful bite of any creature that has ever lived. In the massive 7-foot jaws of the Megalodon, there were 5 rows of around 276 compressed, blade-like teeth that were made for cutting and grasping powerful prey. Its bite was strong enough to crush a car and was much stronger than that of the great white shark and even Tyrannosaurus rex.
There really isn't much to say about this segment. It's just Origins Explained being, well, Origins Explained but slightly better. But obviously, every single time, comparing to the T-Rex, this feeling is all so familiar.
Some cryptozoologists believe that the Megalodon could still be alive today in some of the deeper parts of the ocean, although it isn't very likely.
And the Megalodon is extinct. So, this is not a Megalodon. Or if it is from a Megalodon, then it's from a movie.
There have been some reports of a huge shark, most recently near the Sea of Cortez.
And judging by this is definitely not real footage.
Like the Leviathan, the Megalodon hunted near the surface. Over the years, it developed a unique hunting technique. This idea comes from fossil evidence showing ancient whale vertebrae to have compression damage that seems to have been caused by a tremendous blow from beneath. For larger victims, they would bite off the fins and tail and then beat it into submission before eating it. The Megalodon died off about 2.6 million years ago, which means it ate animals that are still around today, like whales, porpoises, and sea turtles.
Okay, to Origins Explains credit, this video is technically not clickbait when it comes to the title Most Terrifying Sea Monsters Ever. Because this person is actually talking about sea creatures that previously existed.
So why did the Megalodon die off when other creatures that lived around the same time survived? It's likely that the changing temperatures of water of the last ice age and declining food supplies, probably because it was eating everything in sight, led the monster shark to extinction.
And you just called the Megalodon a monster. Like that. Did I jinx it? I'm not really sure.
Number 3. Leviathan melville. You know how I was just telling you about carnivorous whales? Moby Dick may have been fictional, but this prehistoric predatory whale had the largest functional teeth ever known, some measuring over a foot long. First described in 2008, we now know that it was one of the most fearsome predators in the ocean and lived around the same time as the Megalodon and competed for the same food.
Which is true. In fact, the Leviathan would have won more times because of its anatomy.
If they came face to face, I wonder who would win this epic battle. Weighing up to 50 tons, their head alone was about 10 feet long, and it seems like they were equipped with the same echolocating equipment as modern whales. It is believed that the Leviathan was a surface hunter and headbutted its victims at high speed to knock them unconscious, which is when its teeth would come into play.
Alright, so Origins Explained is actually getting quite a lot of stuff correct. I was expecting this to be much more disaster than it should be. Am I reprising? Am I just saying everything in repeat? I don't know. I'm not really sure.
So what happened to this powerful sea beast? Large predators have had a hard time adapting to changing conditions, and the changing climate and food supply may have been too much for it.
Similar to how the Megalodon went extinct 3.6 million years ago, though. That was before the Ice Age that we know. Leviathan went extinct at around 5 million years ago, even earlier than that of the Megalodon.
It's still a relatively new species for us, so as research continues, we may be in for more surprises. Number 2. Mosasaurus. Mosasaurs were marine reptiles that lived during the dinosaur era. Reaching almost 60 feet in length, it was about the same size as the Megalodon.
It is now estimated to be closer to that of 45 feet, shorter than that of the Plesiosaurus.
Both were the apex predators of the sea while they lived, but these monsters were separated by about 50 million years.
More so 40 million years. Specifically 43 million years. And also calling the Mosasaurus a monster.
The Mosasaurus was one of the most dangerous beasts prowling the waters throughout the entire Cretaceous period. It had a head shape similar to a crocodile with anywhere from 40 to 50 massive teeth and a jaw that was double hinged so they could swallow their prey whole like a snake. Like all other reptiles, it had to come to the surface to breathe air, and it had paddle-like fins that gave it better mobility in the water. And here is number 1, but first, be sure to subscribe.
Another one of those generic begging for subscribers to get, more clout and all that.
Number 1. Thalattoarchonsaurophagus. Say that 3 times really fast.
Thalattoarchonsaurophagus. It is over 8.6 meters long. But due to some missing parts of the holotype specimen, the authors mentioned that the estimate could be revised when more is known about the animal, because it is recently discovered in 2013, so we can't really expect to know that much about it, especially compared to something like Megalosaurus.
Only recently discovered in 2008, T. saurophagus was the size of a school bus, reaching nearly 30 feet long, whose massive jaws allowed them to hunt prey as large as they were or bigger.
It is an apex predator. It might have preferred to prey on medium-sized marine reptiles or juveniles. It might have just fed on smaller animals, both alive and dead, because there is no fossil record of the Thalattoarchon pack hunting to feed on Symbospondylus.
This T-Rex of the sea.
T-Rex of the sea. Back to the classic crazy stuff, origins explained.
Was an early species of ichthyosaur that ruled the oceans some 244 million years ago. This was about 8 million years after Earth's greatest mass extinction, only is relative, when 95% of marine life is thought to have been wiped out. Its discovery is giving scientists new insights into the quick recovery of the ecosystem. A top predator indicates that an ecosystem is complete. Thalattoarchon was officially classified as a genus in 2013. With this beast only being discovered within the last decade, what other creatures are lurking underground waiting to be found?
It was discovered in 1997, and the fossils were completely exhumed in 2008.
Thanks for watching. For more mysterious facts about the ocean, click here. See you later!
Origins Explained did a fine job with this paleontology video for the most part, because it is not clickbait, and a lot of stuff that this Katrina person got is correct. However, there are still some crazy statements like the Echolopterus being an insect and Thalattoarchon being the T-Rex of the sea. So, yeah, definitely not perfect. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you all in the next one.